sensational thing you can say about it. It's just a really interesting UFO video. And this guy comes forward and basically claims it in James Fox's documentary. He says, well, I actually saw it land and saw a blue alien come out of it. But for really deep conspiracy theory stuff. And everybody that's creating message groups and interacting with each other are just going rabbit hole deep on like underground bases, secret space programs, remote viewing and psychic abilities. And the guy who set up that website, his name is Bill Ryan. He started up an earlier site that was very similar called Project Camelot with Carrie Cassidy. And he saw Corey Goode starting to announce himself as this secret space program, super soldier dude on the forums. And he starts tracking all of this guy's IP address, because every time you log into the site, you have a certain IP. He starts tracking that Corey Goode was going to all those hot topics, and he's mining all of these popular themes, all these popular conspiracy UFO ideas, and he's putting them into one character that he's launching on the forum, because they track that IP going to underground bases. They track that IP going to secret space program. They track that IP going to, child soldier psychic stuff, right? And early on, Bill Ryan launched an essay on the forum and said, hey, I don't believe this guy because I've been watching his activity on my forum, blah, 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 blah. He seems to be like creating this story off of things that are already existing. And long story short with that, Corey Goode had already blown up and become super popular. Everybody in the community was believing him and getting behind him.
They wanted to believe.
They wanted to believe, and that's the thing. Like, we want to believe all this stuff. I want to believe that there's a galactic federation out there, but there's absolutely no friggin' proof, right? We do know that there's UFOs, but are those being piloted by, reptiles or Arcturians or, the Ebens from Sirius B or whatever? I don't know. Like, we need proof of that.
Yes.
The claims that go that far are the dangerous claims that everybody get absorbed in the UFO community and become believers, right? They don't become skeptics of these things. And so you see that happening with Jason Sands right now, because he's essentially saying all of these things that I've seen already in the community. For example, the whole idea of intercepting communications between alien intelligence off base and personnel on base, like generals or commanders or whatever you got at the Nellis Air Force Base. That is basically Paul Benowitz. He was intercepting signals. If you read Project Beta and you go down this whole Rick Doty rabbit hole, Rick Doty was sent out to intercept Paul Benowitz, who ran his own commercial, private airport in Nevada, which is close to Kirkland Air Force Base. He started intercepting signals, and he believed that it was alien communications with a base somewhere out there. And it eventually, they point him towards the Archuleta Mesa in Dulce, New Mexico. And that's how the whole Dulce, New Mexico underground base story started, right? Because of Paul Benowitz. And he was getting that information from an Air Force OSI agent, Rick Doty, who said, this is where the signals are coming from. Yeah. That could have been counterintelligence. That could have been Rick being told, go intercept this guy who has received these signals and tell him it's here instead of Kirkland Air Force Base. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we've heard that story already. Jason has built that into his backstory. Then
When did he first do that? Was that all the way back on that first space, or did that come later?
He said that on that first space.
Okay, and this is in April
2024. So I'm like, what the like? Is no one seeing this add up? Like connecting to these other conspiracy popular theories? The other thing is, we have that popular UFO video from, I think it's 1992, the Nellis Air Force Base UFO. It's a FLIR camera video. This thing looks really odd. That's been out there for a long time.
Yes.
There's no backstory to that. There's no amazing, sensational thing you can say about it. It's just a really interesting UFO video. And this guy comes forward and basically claims it in James Fox's documentary. He says, well, I actually saw it land and saw a blue alien come out of it.
Wait, hold on. Back up 1 second. I think he's the actual sighting that from 92 or 90, I think it was 93, whatever it was, the same thing. Well, that was a separate thing from the actual blue alien story. The blue alien story was that he was in the desert out there, and he in a caravan of, I think, 3 other cars. Everyone run episode 267, see if it was 3 or 4. And they came upon this blue alien who was coming from a craft that had some damage. He wasn't saying that, as far as I know, that was the same craft.
Looking for tritium or something.
Yeah, tritium.
Tritium, yeah. I mean, what I'm saying is, it's glomming on to an already recognized UFO or UAP video that we all have seen in the community and adding a story on top of it that's sensational that we can't actually prove. We can't, right?
We can't. Yes, that's right.
So, maybe you could say, okay, this guy's telling the truth about that, but he's telling the truth about 20 and back, which we know is factually untrue. You saw the doc series. Corey Goode admitted in a deposition, a court deposition,
that was amazing,
where you're not allowed to lie under oath in a court proceeding. He says when he's presented by the lawyer, I think it's Lyndon, who was representing Leon Isaac Kennedy, African-American Hollywood actor that got pulled into this legal battle thing. And we'll talk about the whole legal battle stuff because that's still going on today.
Yeah.
And I hope that this doesn't become a legal battle with me in the Sands camp. But you basically have that lawyer saying, so did you actually go to space and fight aliens and serve in this 20 and back thing?
This was incredible.
And Corey says, what do you mean? Physically? And he says, yeah, did you go into space? Because Corey had spent like the past pretty much 20 years, or 10 years, sorry, with regards to the Gaia character and, all of these documentaries he did post leaving Gaia with David Wilcock saying, yeah, I'm the real deal. I'm a secret space astronaut and a super soldier, which he looks like none of those, right? Like, if you believe I'm a secret space astronaut or super soldier, good luck, right? Like, I'm dead in both scenarios pretty quickly. So then he admits, okay, I never went physically. It was part of my meditative process.
Oh, it was worse than that, dude. Remember the quote he says? You have it in it's incredible.
Say it.
He goes, I don't even have the exact one, but I have the word he used. He goes, that was my delusional truth. It was a part of my delusion. And the lawyer had to ask him like 2 or 3 times to clarify that, okay, so as a delusion, therefore that is not something that physically happened. He goes, it happened in a spiritual, it's like,
in my meditative,
fuck?
Like an out of body meditative process.
That was incredible.
But that is not what he was selling all those years before.
He said, I did this.
He was saying it was physical.
Yes.
Like I was an astronaut, like Buzz Aldrin, or, these real Air Force pilots that risked their lives to go into, a no gravity environment and go to the moon and such. Like, this guy is LARPing. Yes. He's live action role playing. And so I'm seeing these parallels in the Jason Sands story because, I asked him in that premiere space, have you ever heard of an underground base or been to an underground base? And he said, oh yeah, I've been in an underground base facility.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wow. Okay. The very first documentary I ever made was about Phil Schneider, about a guy who claimed he was in an underground base and he lost his fingers from getting into a battle with aliens.
Yeah.
Post documentary, the program coming out.
Unless he's like, I don't have enough weed.
Yeah. Jason Sands says in a space that he was sent in a crack squad unit to go into a cave, which is exactly what Phil Schneider said he was doing, going into a cave underground. And Jason says he was hired to whack 8-foot tall crab aliens.
Yeah, I believe you said this on Post Disclosure podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, December 18th. Yeah.
So I'm like, that's Phil Schneider.
Yeah.
Right?
You're like, this whole time, especially because you're working on this Corey Goode documentary in Gaia and seeing how he LARPed and pulled all these things together, this whole time you're like the Leo meme where you're like, wait a minute, I know that. That's it.
Right? But I'm people don't listen to me. I say this stuff like in spaces, and I'm doing like this weekly KGRA radio show.
KGRA.
Every Wednesday. It's just web radio. They asked me to have this, and I figured out a way. I was like, okay, why don't we bring Twitter Spaces into the radio feed? And then you can also save that as like a podcast on Spotify and Spreaker and all that stuff. So I had Jason Sands in it.
When was this?
He was in about 4 weeks ago. And this is after he started talking about whacking the 8-foot tall crab aliens. And I'm like, dude, just speak to him. Look, he's a really nice guy. I think he's a good person deep down. I don't think he wants to hurt anybody. But, if you believe in this like MAGA movement, Make America Great Again, I believe when you're in the UFO community and you're believing these sensational stories, you are making America dumb again.
Mm.
And so
I got you.
I'm talking to this guy and I'm like, dude, how can you prove, like, you're saying you're killing aliens now? That just doesn't, like, when was this? How did it happen? And it gets very blurry and wishy-washy. And he announces in that space, and my friend Andy, who could not be here with us today.
Shout out Andy. He was here last time, Andy Marshall.
Andy Marshall, good guy. He's a little pissed off at me right now.
Why is he pissed off at you? How could he ever be pissed off at you?
I slept past a phone call that he was supposed to arrive today, and I woke up to being called punk bitch. But it's all good. It's great. I've been called worse. And I love the guy. He's a good guy. He means well.
Hey, listen, he's in New York, I'm in New Jersey. That's how we talk sometimes.
Yeah,
don't take it personal.
Long Islander, probably even more intense. But anyways, so he, was in this space, and he was also like, Andy is an experiencer. I do not discount people have had real experiences with either UFOs or maybe even
DARPA. Thank you guys for checking out this clip. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit the like button on this video. It is a huge, huge help. And if you'd like to check out this clip's full podcast episode, that link is in the description below or right here. And finally, you can follow me on Instagram and X by using the links in my description below.